You like? Oh,
Greetings, everyone. Tommy here, calling from the big island of Hawaii. All right, we're going to get into a lot of different things today. So, if you're in the site, you want to put questions in there, just type them in. We'll get to them one way or another. Or you can text me, text Tina. Uh, so, my name's Tommy Hawksblood. I have five books. One's not out publicly yet, but if you text me, I would send you a copy as an ebook, not an ebook, as a PDF file. I didn't turn it into a book yet, but it's How to See a UFO manual. But my important book is what you see on the cover, that screen when you come onto the site. That's the main book. That's the most important book I ever wrote, and I feel it's probably the most important book ever written, if anybody wants to believe that or not. But that's my truth. So with that, I'll let the other partner right there, the co-host, introduce herself.
hi, thank you, Tommy. I'm Tina Barrett here, guys. ET Gal here. And you can find me on Hive. That's Human Individuals Visited by Extraterrestrials. And that's a blog and a page. And I'm Tina Barrett on Facebook. And I'm here every week with Tommy on our show every Tuesday night at 8 o'clock UK time. And I'm in Southampton in England. Tommy, over to you.
All right. So we're going to start simple. I just want to bring up a couple things. I'm in the mainland, talking about what's going on there right now. I'm actually in Hawaii, but I'm talking about what's going on in the mainland with Mr. Trump. All right. I don't know if you know much about Maxwell. She's kind of being arrested and being held for questioning about this whole thing about the child porn ring, which is incredibly big. And Trump came out this morning and said he's going to protect her. They got to prove she's guilty. I mean, he's defending her already. He must have got a call from the Queen and said, hey, you better stop that from getting opened up and let everybody know about it. So there's a lot going on with that. Check it out. Watch it. Now, if she doesn't come down with the virus, it'll be a miracle. Otherwise, probably a plane's going to crash into her building, whatever the story is. I don't think they're going to let her testify. If they do, it's going to blow so many people out of the water.
Normally car crashes with the royal family. Sorry.
But including the ex people in politics. So, yeah, it's going to be mind-boggling if it happens. We'll see. Keep an eye on that. But we got Trump. He's going to donate $3 billion a year now to the environment, which he said nothing's happened to it. Nothing's going on. Nothing this, that. And he wants projects done on it now. All of a sudden, the campaign's coming up. He's going to shift everything he can to get every single person that he can to agree with him now, no matter what he does. He says the virus is okay now. No, it's the worst it has ever been. He won't declare everybody has to wear a mask, which should be done. Everybody's talking about their freedom being taken away, but he's still talking about sending in his armies to control the fighting. It's a rebel war going on, and we just might go into a revolution.
Or it's a civil war. End of days, Tommy, end of days.
It's going to be the end of days for some people. Not everybody, but some people. And for me, end of days is just stepping off of this planet to go to a better one. So for most people, it's not as simple as that. But what I teach, what I get into, please, it's about that part of life, death, and moving on, not hanging on to the threads of hell and dealing with the garbage going on. So with that, we're going to talk about aliens and UFOs and everything. But if you read the title, I put it up there because right now, more than ever, everybody I listen to, everybody that's speaking out there is praying, we should pray, or they're going to their higher dimensional self and making everything great. Well, the bottom line is, look at the world right now. Do you see anything great happening? Do you see anything spiritual happening? Do you see any spiritual beings coming out of the woodwork anywhere? I don't. If you do, please text me. I'll bring them on a show up there if they got that kind of abilities and everything else, but I haven't seen any. All right, let's just... Giz is great. My dealing with TJ, just real fast, no, it's not happening. She just texts me again. She wants me to go into a site. She wants to set more up for me and everything, but every time it comes to do my show, she disappears for a week. So I did one show out of 5 weeks already. We were supposed to do a show every Sunday. So I don't know. I'm kind of like, I don't put any faith into what she says or does anymore. After 7 years of being the Xbox where she never shows up for my show, it's kind of like boring and kind of depressing if I think about it. So I'm doing a show now every Saturday night. I'm bringing really big names on to debate with my own free will, whatever I want to say and do to them. So, yeah, Michael Horn was supposed to be on last Saturday. He didn't show, so he's coming on this Saturday night. If you know who Michael Horn is, he's the spokesperson for Billy Myers. So I've been on top of everything, and I'm open for debate to anyone. I mean, if the Pope wants to come on, I would love to bring him on, tear him apart, or even what music.
With that in mind, Tom, before we delve right into religion again, with that in mind, if anybody out there, John or anybody else that's listening or watching, would like to ask questions, you can come into our chat room like a few of you have now. Just come into the chat room, leave a message if you'd like to, or we can have you on the show. So any questions for tonight, please put them up there. Message us, text us, inbox us, and we'll read your questions out and we'll answer them for you. But tonight, as Tommy said, we'd like to touch on UFOs and a bit of disclosure and return of the Dragon Crew and a few other things. Tommy.
Well, I'm going to let Tina take the beginning of this over and put her a couple of things she wants to talk about up. Because I got certain problems going on with what's happening out there in the real world. And it has to do with aliens and government and everything else, all this disclosure. Somebody just texted me and said that God's not real, aliens are. I said, oh, well, that was on Skype. I tried to get her to come on this show. She will. She was just on Carrie Cassidy's show. Carrie Cassidy must be getting desperate. She's bringing on her show. So, I'm at a point where I'm done listening to the garbage. And if you're out there and you want to hear the truth, tune into the show. Tell people to listen. If they have somebody they think's really spiritual or outrageous, tell them to call in and give me the link, and I'll get them on and tear them apart. All right, that's just my thing. I'm against all rebels that are against the truth, which you'll find out if you watch my show every Saturday night. I was given a show Saturday night. It has multiple gigantic following. And I get to say what I want, and I'm really happy with it so far. So we'll see how that goes. He said, I don't care what the government does, what anything does, but say what you want. So I can say names and all that as well. Play any kind of music I want in the beginning of it. So, yeah. One last thing. This Neil Diamond Walsh, he's like this book on Conversation with God, which is the most delusional idea I could ever imagine. But he has a giant following. So I went in there and wrote a couple of things on them, and I got all these letters from everybody in there because he mentioned Buddha, Mama, Jesus. And I said, how can you mention these people when you don't know anything about what they're teaching compared to what you're saying? And then all these letters came in. So, and everybody had hearts. Everybody's putting up hearts. I said, oh, listen to this song. And I said, go on the internet, type Ramones. Everybody has a poison heart. All right, I'll give it back to you, Tina. Now you can take it away.
So, hello, good evening, everybody. Apart from Tommy there. So tonight, I'd like to touch on a topic. I watched, all I really get time for lately is to watch a bit of news. And CNN News popped up here in the UK on one of my links. And it was on one of the late night shows about 2 days ago. And a gentleman called Christopher Mellon, apparently he's a PhD, and says that the title of the CNN program, he was talking about, he was the Secretary of Defense during the Clinton and Bush administration. And he said that a gentleman called Eric Davis from 2007 worked within the Pentagon, and they actually manage a unit now. Now, this unit is from the Department of Defense and Navy Intelligence, and they have released it. They've said that the Defense and Naval Departments have made a unit that will formally look into, and their findings will be made public, into off-world vehicles not made on this earth. and he said that any assertions should be made and taken seriously. So as soon as they confirmed what this unit has been put together and found, it's going to be published within the administration and made public to everybody. They also said that they've been working with a few other countries. They didn't name Britain, funny enough. I'm not sure if it was Belgium and France, Germany, and I think Russia as well had a few episodes, but I'm not quite sure. Maybe that's 2 interviews. They also said that your president, Mr. Trump, had mentioned something on this on Father's Day, that somebody asked him, or his son had asked him, could he look into it? And he said maybe one day that he was going to put together a task force. So with that in mind, following that, this week, I'd like to welcome home the Dragon crew from SpaceX. Tommy, what are you doing? Take him off. What is that about? Take this seriously. Take those glasses off. Oh my god. I can't see you.
You're fine.
Oh my god. What are you doing? You make us look crazy when you do stuff like that. Oh my god. So as I was saying,
if you can't laugh, how good is it?
I'm laughing.
Right,
so welcome home to SpaceX return and the Dragon crew that landed safely. So welcome home them. Also, another snippet from America, the New York Times this week. It was Bryce Zabel on the 23rd of July released an article in the New York Times saying that UFO crashes may exist and Pentagon are going to put the findings out and they will be made public. And that was a naval intelligence officer that came out with that story and released that to his in the New York Times this week. And on the topic of this week and American films, I watched the film called The Independent. It was an independent film. It's called The Phoenix Incident, and I thought it was going to be about the Phoenix Lights. So everybody knows quite historic back then. But this Phoenix Incident is about 4 adrenaline junkies, young men that were witnessed this not far away. They were in the desert, became lost, or their vehicle broken down, and they were abducted. One guy who witnessed this, their bodies were never found. They never found enough of their bodies to make DNA identification. And this apparently is a bit of a nutter. He lived in the desert. They went to his compound, which was near where they'd broken down, and they tried to get in. They had the actual CCTV sheriff's footage of it. They tried to get into the compound, which they did, but this gentleman that lived there said that he was arrested by the police later, and they shot him, but he was later arrested and went to prison. He wasn't formally charged. He served time in prison, and when he was released, he wasn't allowed to share his story, and he killed himself. He made a videotape and killed himself. But his statement to the police was one of the men was abducted, clearly abducted by a beam of light, and the other men were taken by aliens and never found. But that was the Phoenix Incident movie, and apparently it's a genuine story. It's a life story, and I hope those families do find closure for those 4 gentlemen, those young lads, which is horrendous to lose a member of your family and not knowing what's happened to them. And if the government knows about this, apparently they traced an incoming UFO behind a comet. It trailed the comet to come into our atmosphere. So they do know about the Phoenix Lights. It is real. It wasn't flares. That was a separate story put up. And they tracked this thing coming into our part of the universe behind a comet. So that it shows clandestine intentions, surely. Tommy? Now you're over your Google box.
Well, yeah, we had that part of that story here, but they completely covered it up and it disappeared. Now, whether that was just thrown out to tease people, they're not following up on it. We're not going to hear anything else about that. So the whole idea that they got these spaceships that are from somewhere other than planet Earth, we're not going to hear much about it. And I think it was a gag thing done by the government, which they do a lot. So as far as seeing them and showing them, there's nothing out there yet. So when you come out with a story like that, you're supposed to show the picture of it. So to say that we have it, we don't have nothing until we see it. and then we have to see if there's real people standing next to it or if it's a copy.
They had the intelligence radar footage from the inside the truck.
I mean the ship that they said that we have that we actually have. I'm talking about that now.
Yeah.
So all these things, we're going to have disclosure, but not the way people want it. And I listened. Now they're all talking about what Trump said, what he said off TV, and what he's talking about it. The problem is we got a civil war going on in the United States, and it's growing. The ignorance is boggling my mind. I can't understand how ignorant the United States is right now. The whole story about the last person that was killed because of a cop kneeling on his neck and killing him. A story just went down. 3 cops pulled the car over. There was a woman and 3 children. And he took them all out, laid them on the ground, handcuffed them and everything else. He thought it was a stolen car. The kids are screaming. And it was the wrong car. It wasn't even the car that was supposed to be stolen. You think people be a little more careful what they do, especially the police department? I mean, we don't need more false accusations and things like that going down to make more people angry. They're already walking around with machine guns and everything in mobs and stuff like that. It's going to break. One incident just has to happen. If
I'm sorry, I can understand what you're saying, but what gives a right for someone to walk around with a machine gun in a high street or pedestrian area?
Nothing does.
If I walk around with a machine gun in a pedestrian area, I'd be in prison right now.
Well, see, here's the thing. After that one guy got killed, you can't do anything to a black person. And everything's black and white in the United States right now. So when they set up a wall and they all have guns and everything, and they're saying, we're Army, we're Marines, and we know how to fight and all that. And they said, we want Texas. They demand in the United States gives them Texas to do what they want with. I said they really should, but that's besides the point. Stick them all in Texas, put a gate around it, and let them stay in Texas if that's what they want. If you saw the movie Escape from New York, it was interesting.
So I thought, I mean, that is given into terrorism, is it not?
What they're doing right now? No, they're not going to give them Texas. They can't give them Texas. Texas is owned by a bunch of people.
Yeah, I know that. But giving the government, what they're going to do if they don't give them the government? Who are they saying that they're going to shoot?
They're going to keep tearing down buildings and blowing up places, cars. They're beating the cops up now. Cops are getting thrown off the force for saying things, doing stupid things as well.
So
and wait, let me finish. The Democrats, which I'm not sure why, are trying to say we don't need cops. They're trying to eliminate parts of the police force, trying to cut everything down. They want to stop the funding of them. The world in the United States is like so backwards right now. If they do what they talk about doing right now, crime's going to go up 100% every which way. And it won't just be black. It'll be drug addicts. It'll be thieves, and all those kind of things are going to go down or escalate, especially if there's less cops on the road, less cops willing to pull a person over. Now, the governor of a town said, let them take what they want. Let them come in your house and take what they want. Really? Is that what we're supposed to do? They arrested 2 people. There was a couple people coming on their property and said, we're going to blow your house up. And he pulled out a gun, and they arrested him on his property. That's going to court. I mean, it's just crazy. It's like if we do one more thing to a black person, we're going to have a revolution. They already have it. They need to stop it right now. I mean, Trump should be stopping it, not saying, well, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that.
Sorry, but that's a bit racist, isn't it? We're all human.
Well, the problem is, if you go on these picket lines, if you watch, they destroyed a whole city in California where my friend lives. Everything's closed and can't open, so now she has to drive to another town to even go to the store now. And a lot of the stores are not going to open again. All the people that they're losing their jobs because of this and everything else. We already got enough problems with the virus.
So they're ripping down society during a pandemic, threatening people, rioting, looting, and acts of terrorism, and the government's doing nothing.
Well, Trump keeps saying he's going to bring in the army and go in there with machine guns and all that stuff, but they went into one place.
Because what happens if you lived there? and you had a family there, and it happened in your house, regardless if you're black or white, who's going to come and help you? You don't have a
Nobody.
right to defend yourself. Exactly.
Well, right now, the gun sales has escalated about 90% over the past 3 months. Ever since the virus started, people were buying more and more guns, and they keep saying, well, we better have guns. But now with this terrorist thing, I call it terrorist, no matter how you look at it. A peaceful riot's not a terrorist group. And I don't want to take all our time about that, but it's just horrible. It's mind-boggling, and we're getting worse every day.
There's poor people in those areas that live there every day watching that and facing it. I feel sorry for them. They're just trying to get along with their everyday lives, and they're being dragged into,
a horrible situation. It's just
yeah.
horrible. But where's these aliens that are helping everybody? Why don't they help stop this?
Yeah.
Well, they should. But let's get back to the alien thing. All right. Now, I just went outside 2 days ago, and I saw a giant. It looked like a comet, but really low, with a super bright tail. I know everybody's supposed to be watching that comet that's going around us for the first time for like, I don't know how many years, a long time. But I know it wasn't that because it was too low. It was the wrong time of the day and everything. So keep your eyes out there. Too many things are happening. Like Tina's got some pictures. I mean, I got a bunch of pictures. What's going on right now is not just government ships, not Russian ships, not Chinese ships and whatever. They're coming from other worlds. So please keep your eyes open. If you want to see a UFO, stand outside for a little while. You'll see one.
You won't have to stand out there long.
And now they're going to be putting thousands and thousands of more satellites up in the next year. Google is going to put up 1,600, 1,400 or something.
Yeah, they don't need to. If we have this kind of technology now, and we're advanced, and we have advanced technology now, surely they won't need more satellites. If they're putting satellites up there, surely they've got to be for defense.
Well, no, Musk said that he's putting like 2,600 up. He says by next year, everybody anywhere on the planet will be able to get internet service. So there's going to be all these satellites. But supposedly, I just got an article. I'm trying to prove it. I don't think it's real, but they said Russia shot down a couple satellites already. I don't believe that, but we'll see. We'll see what's going on.
Something I did hear about. They've invented like a satellite or a missile that can bring down satellites. But whether that's for protection or defense against other countries, I have no idea. But I have recently heard that.
Oh no, they put that up, but did they shoot anything down? I don't think so. I don't think Russia's preparing to go to war with the United States yet. I think China is.
I don't think each other look towards the sky because they've got more things to be frightened of up there than they have down here. Believe you me.
Well, they just got to hit out all our satellites, and the whole United States would crash, or any country would crash. It's that simple. I don't think any store could deal with the computers going down right now. Imagine that. All the computers shut down. They wouldn't even be able to pull up a bill, a sale, a price.
Oh, look at what's going on now, like you just said. If the government's abandoning the people in a time of need and they need genuine help in their own local towns, no matter where you are, not just America or Britain or around the world, if that's actually happening, what chance have you got with an alien invasion? We don't stand a chance. The human race don't stand a chance because no one's going to come and save us if the government can't come and help us now.
You know, people, like, that's why I put that title up there. Everybody's living in dreamland. Dreaming that it's going to be saved. I mean, the knight on the white horse is coming in, Superman's coming down, whatever fantasy they're piping up in their mind. Oh, Jesus is going to come back and save the world too. My other friend said that on a show, and I couldn't deal with that. You know, he said 2034, Jesus is going to come down and kill Lucifer. Well, that's delusional as well, because Lucifer doesn't stay down here, and Jesus is not a killer, and that's not his. It was never his job to kill demons. He wasn't out there fighting them or that. That's what a lot of the angels were for. So, you know, people are twisting everything. There's another alien group of people coming down here telling us more garbage, and people will believe it, which people are. So we're going downhill fast every which way. And as far as help, do people really think there's help coming? Well, Billy Myers, who I'm having on his spokesperson, Michael Horn, he explains what Billy Myers, he made new prophecies. He made 100 prophecies in 1950 and gave them to every country, and they almost all came true. Now he made a bunch more now, but he said something about the war, and we got to stop allowing them to make certain things. I said, it's common sense what he's saying, but it's not going to happen, which is even more ridiculous. So that's why I want to bring him on and talk to him about that. But here's a point: we have all these people saying they see UFOs and everything, and they work with them and they talk to them. But what benefit did we get in the past 100 years? Now, I'm not talking about ships that the government's using now and what they shot down. I mean, we don't get to see that anyway. I'm talking about what's helping the human race in a good way. And if you think going to Mars is going to be beneficial, we're going to land on Mars in 9 months, 8 months, whatever it is.
Hope. Yeah, there's 7 or 8 months. That's with the space shuttle Hope, wasn't it? That was launched.
Yeah.
Going to a planet that's dead because it's already been nuked 400 million years ago, wouldn't it? Been completely flattened.
Well, you were talking about the aurora around it, and it just came up again. There's another aura around it. They just said yesterday. So something's going on there, and it's doing something. When they get there, though, they won't tell us anyway, especially if we have ships up there already. So, we're moving so slow to go nowhere. I mean, if we were moving fast forward in a good way, it might be beneficial for the world, but we're not. I mean, let's eliminate pollution. We're not doing that. We're creating more. Let's start clearing up the forests, and we're not doing anything. The water's contaminated. All these little things we should be getting. And all these alien friends of ours are doing nothing. So how can these people say they're spiritual, they're more advanced, they've been here forever? If they've been here forever, they're the ones that are responsible for making it horrible the way it is right now then. I mean, you think it would move forward if you're intelligent. And they don't have feelings and emotions like we do. So you'd think they would at least want things right, not feeling good, but just right. And that more than anybody.
Technology, did they give us plastic then, and we just went downhill and polluted ourselves with that before we even started? So
it's just sad. Everything about it's so sad. So right now, everybody's out there looking for UFOs, and we're seeing them. And these shows on TV, there's just 1 or 2 on almost every day now. Between that and Bigfoot, you can always pull up a show every day during the week and stuff. I watch them all. I'm waiting to see something important happen. I just watched one yesterday. This couple was driving a car, and a Bigfoot was running in the woods. They stopped and they took pictures of it running on the side of on a hill, which was cool. But so what? We got all these idiots. I went on a show a couple of days ago. They were talking about Sasquatch and how spiritual they are, how they help us, and what they do for all the people, how they help the native people. I said, when anybody says the star beings or anybody help the native people, I say, what, die?
Yeah, because didn't there, back in the 50s or 60s, wasn't there like 6 Russian hikers or scientists got themselves ripped apart and eaten by a Sasquatch or Yeti in the mountains in Russia?
Oh, that they won't even admit to that. I mean, I just saw a special on that. They recreated everything and tried to figure out what's going on there. They gave 5 scenarios of what happened, and they won't even pick one which they think is what really happened.
Or they'd been bitten out, wouldn't it? Or something. It
wasn't, the one was naked, like a mile away from his tent. The other one's ripped apart. The other one had his head scrunched. I mean, all of them it was really pathetic what went down. And
very quick.
The tent was collapsed, so they think something was on the tent, and it came out, and that's when they were grabbed. But the whole story was incredible, and they don't follow up. Nobody follows up on any story, which is
I think it wasn't declassified.
Well, Area 51 still going on. I mean, Roswell is never going to end. We're always going to hear that.
That's historic.
It's how old already. Let's hear something like what happened last year. When that ship supposedly landed in Africa in front of the whole school, and all the kids went over to the alien.
That was 30 years ago, wasn't
it? That was an incredible story. Let's hear about that.
5 years ago, that. How old's Roswell now? 70 years?
Yeah.
70
52
years ago. Yes.
to 80.
Yeah. It's got to be over 70 years ago. And like the African one, it landed at school. That's 30, 35 years ago. And you've got is it 2007, the lights?
Well, the most important story that I say in the UFO world was what happened in Long Island, New Jersey, and New York, and that was called the Montauk Project, which came from the Philadelphia experiment. And Tesla was working with aliens then, and that's when he created all the inventions that he did. Hold on, let me close that door. Can you hear that? Can you hear talking?
Yes. Yeah, I can hear. Yeah.
Let's close
Yeah.
that.
Well, while Tommy's just stepping away for a second, I've just seen something about the about the Cherokees didn't want to have a casino built. But this week, the good bit of news I did manage to find is that Donald Trump is launching a task force for missing and murdered American Indians. So I know there was an issue for many years for young American Indian girls going missing and women and children for many years, and they weren't registered. So there's a task force now looking into that. So things are looking up.
Well,
And as the planet is not being invaded by, oh yeah, it could be. If they're being invaded by anything else, it's you want to find out what started the virus.
Realize when a government steps into anything native, it's not a good thing ever, no matter what Trump says. 2 years ago, 350 children were killed within a year and a half. I mean, died. They're not going to say some of them were poisoned, some of them had disappeared, all these things happened. I mean, the medicine elder and a chief came out here to Hawaii, and I was talking to them, and nothing was done. When the president went in there and said, "Oh, we're going to build you houses," they never did that. But they call it the Goon Squad. Basically, it's half the United States government people and Native people that they can bribe to be part of it. All right, and they're the ones that are going around raping all the women on the reservation and things like that right now. It's horrible. It's more than one thing. They're still trying to eliminate the Native American people, especially the Dakota and South and North Dakota. So there's a problem there. And now that they're coming out, all the Native people arrest around the United States, and well, we work with the star beings, and we were going to have UFO conference, and they have one every year now. And then they talk about how good Sasquatch is, and all these incredible good things happening. And I said, what planet are we talking about? I didn't know we found a planet like that yet.
Oh, Elon Musk, was it Elon Musk? I don't want to say the wrong name. Came out this week and said that the pyramids were built by aliens and not the Egyptians.
Oh yes, another thing.
What evidence he has? There's a lot of history that point towards that, but I don't know what the evidence is.
I mean, he knows the truth, and there's people out there that do. I mean, and then people still attacked him and said no possible way. I said, oh yeah, and they said there was no slaves at that time. I said, what would it take to build a pyramid? How many people? How long? You're talking about years. How much food did they have? How did they feed them? How did they?
Get food from?
Huh?
Where did they get all that food from?
Where did they get the food? Where did they get the housing to put them in, and everything else along the way? It's people. They can't take 2 and 2 and put it together because they'll never come up with 4. They'll come up with 8, 92, 65. They'll come up with some weird number. They don't know how to put facts together. The same as when Putin asked Trump to come out with the facts about 9/11. Nobody cares. One of the worst incidences happening in the United States, and nobody cares how it really happened. They take the stupid story that they were told, and they just hold on to, well, that's what happened. Really? I mean, if you have a brain, and any scientist with a brain could say, hey, look, the third building that went down, there was no possible way it could have went down. I mean, it's like common sense. Never mind being a nuclear physicist and all the people that got involved with that and said it's impossible this happened, it's possible for that happened. But it happened. How did it happen? Nobody wants the truth. So when we talk about aliens, do you want the truth? Tina will go into the facts, what they're going to come here for. It's sure not to bring you some gold bricks and some new food for you to eat to make you Superman.
Well, the elixir of life.
Yeah, exactly. People want it. People want to live here long. I always wondered, for me, I said, if this was a beautiful place and people were compassionate, loving, and all those things, I don't think anybody'd ever want to leave. But all you hear is rape, murder, killing, stealing, robbing. I mean, every comedian has to curse his head off. I don't think it's funny to hear somebody say F, 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 F. And that's funny. I mean, and black people going, and they'll say so they could talk about themselves in a really bad way. Why would you want to do that?
Humanity, as human beings, have lost their humanity. And T, I'm just going to answer a question there. Is the planet being invaded? Well, yes, I think the planet is invaded every day by microorganisms, if you want a scientific answer to that. And the planet is not being invaded. We're probably the invaders that have lived here for many years, and giants probably lived on this earth a lot longer than modern humans did. So that hopefully answers that question. And yes, we are being visited. We've been visited for millions of years, hundreds of millions of years. And if truth be told, there's something in what everybody says, until like you got proof and they're going to come down and say it. I mean, aliens are taking people, whether it's for research, like Tommy says, food, they're taking our DNA. To what purpose? To blend us with them? I don't know. But to clandestinely come here under cover of a comet or hide behind another planet so we can't spot them, to do little incursions, to take human beings against their will, to take children, to take biological samples, to take bloods, to take bits of your organs and tissue from you to make other beings is an invasion, and it's more a biological invasion. It's a human invasion, not just one or two people the world have to take.
Like people use the word invasion. I mean, there's multiple aspects to it, like you just brought out. The idea that they're just going to come here and blow us up. No, why would they do that?
Well, I mean, they get so much.
They get more from us being the way we are right now, including food, than if they just got rid of us.
We're being raided for our DNA.
I mean, our blood, semen, you name it, ovaries. I mean, outside of that, not for our brains. Tesla wasn't a genius or Einstein. See, people give credit to people that come out with things. Never mind, a lot of people get their experiences of what they create from their dream. Now, there's a place called the Akashic Records on the Astral Plane. And a lot of people, a few people went and left their body, traveled into their spirit body, astral body, and they looked up some things. And all the inventions are in there. You could pull them out and come back with them. Time, I was doing a show, getting ready for Michael Horn, but I learned something by myself. Because I was going to talk about time travel with him, because basically the Pleiadians are us from the future. And that's basically all Bill and Myers worked with. But the idea that they came from the future to here, why? Because we cannot destroy the present. Now, here's what I want to explain. As far as time travel, the past, present, and future are all within the same split second. And it's staying the same. It's not changing. I mean, even though in the next minute, it's the same past, present, and future, but it's changed because it's a different time frame, but it's still the same. What I was going to try to say, if you go back in time and change time, every part of that changes. Which we cannot
change in the future. Yeah, it's a paradox.
If aliens did that, and that, like the Pleiadians are here now so that we don't destroy the planet. If we destroyed the planet now, the future doesn't exist for the Pleiadians. So Pleiadians. All right. So we got a serious problem going down. They're still trying to play with time travel. And if that happens, I know I was friends with the person involved with it, Al Bielek. He was the last person, the real person that went back in time, probably the only person that really did. Was paid. He was offered. He told me they offered him $4 million to go back in time to kill somebody. Because when they went back the first time, they killed somebody and they got all the wrong families in politics now. And they said they want to rearrange that. So when you play that game, all it would take is some idiot to go back to the beginning of time and blow it up. And that would be all. The whole thing would be over.
This a couple of weeks ago about the Eldridge and that, didn't we? The Philadelphia experiment and that, didn't we? We asked where the ship was, yeah. So, it's been my experience with the beings that take you or us, is they showed me images of the past. And I just see this question here. Everyone's asking the question, why can't our IQ get it together? It's not about IQ and intelligence. I mean, I have dyslexia and I'm not the brightest spark in the toolbox, but I can understand complicated. I can't tell you how to get there, but if I saw something, I'd know what it is. It's like PvP, or if you want to talk about pressure underwater or pressure in outer space, or if you want to talk about modular formations and things like that, I get that. It's just a different way that people look at things. A dot can become a squashed object. If you squash a round dot, you go from using pi in a circle to using a flat line. If you then just extend that flat line and break it into three, you have a triangle. And from a triangle, it just goes on and on and on. So what came first, the chicken, the egg, the straight line, or the dot? It's as simple as that. It's how you want to look and apply your IQ, or what you see, or what others can show you. If you have a closed mind, or you don't have an ability to talk to someone, or the ability to see things through other people's eyes, literally, or like abduction, when they link to you.
Well,
I can see a link and understand that, and that's not even of this earth.
well, that word IQ, letters, that's basically meaning you conform to a set reality that man created. All right. Reality means accepting, understanding what you're supposed to accept and understand. Anybody with an IQ cannot explain God, cannot explain death, cannot explain angels, demons, possession, and all those kind of things. So what is their IQ? Zero in my book. I mean, they could build a house, they could build a car, but they can't tell you where they're going to go when they die. And that's probably a little more important, no matter whatever kind of car you're going to build. So, it's backwards. Society is running backwards. And I think aliens particularly like it that way because they can keep us where they want us. And people don't move forward. And when all these things happening, it's time to wake up. I don't care, even if it's just a little bit.
We're just ready.
I don't know if we could save ourselves at any level right now, but I mean, it'd be better going down trying than not at all. Age can stop a choice.
What type of age is he talking about? Human age?
I guess you mean we don't have to get old. Well, they didn't prove that yet. Nobody has passed 125 years old yet. So until that happens, we didn't change the vortex of this planet right now. So for the past 100 years, there's nobody that lived past that. I mean, there's one or two people that said they did, but there's no way to prove it. But here's the thing. We're here for a time frame. And hopefully you're supposed to learn what you're supposed to learn within that time frame. That's why there was a time frame there. But see, reincarnation gives you a multiple timeline, which is 125 years, over and over again. So if you didn't get it in your last time frame, you'll get another time frame to do it over.
So what happens then if, like, these beings, these alien beings, they live for an extremely long time, but the way they choose to be in those bodies, okay? So it's just like you see all these films, like with people that can ascend or put their memory in a computer. They have a thing like a link, and in this link, every single memory of everyone that's attached to it, their memories go back hundreds of millions of years. They just put you in a bubble, put you inside one of these memories, and you could go backwards and forwards. They have a shared collective memory of their history, of our history. Now, that's how they survive, and any of them can see any of what, like, just supposing Tommy's there and I'm here, and I want to see what he was doing in his garden 25 years ago. I could just jump into one of these bubbles, go into their memory link, go back 25 years, and just see what's going on through Tommy's eyes and see what he's experienced. That's the type of technology these beings have. So I don't think age is, if they can synthesize a body or clone your body and put your essence, your spirit or your soul back into that body and use it to their own extent, where does that leave the human race? Where does that leave us with death?
Well, the pill that they were offering, I think it was $70,000, $80,000 to be 40 years younger. Well, imagine going out, spending the money to get the pill and taking it, going outside and getting hit by a car. The idea of living beyond your limits there's the word karma, which we live by. Every has its own karma. So that being said, no matter what you do, no matter how you do it, is not going to change that. Until you pay off your karma, are you free from that? And that karma is going to keep you set on the time cycle that you're stuck in, whether it's 25 years, 50 years, how long you're going to live in this lifetime. But hopefully you overturn that by becoming aware, spiritually aware, and then you can break it. But see, people aren't doing that. What I was just going to say, aliens are reincarnating into this world now. Why would they? Because they don't have feeling emotions where they are, and they probably want to experience that like we did. So it's a growth for them to be in a body that has feelings and emotions.
Every government on this planet keeps their people poor, keeps them at each other's throat, invents disease, invades the world with disease, releases COVID-19 to keep them from seeing the truth about what's really going on around them. It's blinkers for the human race.
Well, the question was about past lives, but past lives are really important, especially if you want to become aware of who and what you are. Because when you deal with karma, it's nice to know what you're paying for. I mean, we all pay karma in different ways. Sometimes it's a lot, sometimes it's not really bad, but it goes up and down. But if you know why you're paying it, it doesn't feel as bad when you're paying it off. Because if you pay it off, that's karma you're not going to have to deal with when you leave this planet or leave your body. But as long as you're still stuck on karma and you have to deal with it, you should be aware of it. And all your past lives would help you be aware of that and everything that you already learned. That you don't need to learn again.
Are we an experiment? I think we are an experiment. I don't think we're like fish. I think that we're like an endangered species or a limited DNA group. I keep saying that, we are a DNA hot melting pot of DNA on this planet, and it's probably the only place that they could get DNA like ours to make more worker bees, to make more souls, more blood, more food, more fluid, whatever it is something they need from us, and they need it in a pure R form.
Well, I know people don't like to hear the truth, but the problem is Earth and this physical reality, all right, is the lowest you can go as soul. All right. It's not an experiment. Soul can move forward. God created the perfect system. Whether you ever try to fit into that or not is a different story. You want to make your own God, you want to say you're God, you're never going to fit into the system that's going to get you out of here. And they're going to be stuck here forever, reincarnating over and over. Even if this world gets destroyed, they'll reincarnate to the next world that's recreated to replace this one. But it'll be in this realm. You're not going to move into the astral plane or any realms above that until you become spiritually aware enough to do that.
Or you leave your body.
Well, you got to learn how to leave your body, at least understand what it means, and then it helps you a great lot when you're crossing over. But it's not an experiment. We come and go, and we keep doing the same things over. It's called a cycle. I mean, it's kind of like the Matrix. We play in a cycle over and over. Recreate, destroy, but we don't move forward. So until you realize you don't have to play that game. When Buddha said this is an illusion, you could look at it in a certain way and say this is illusion because this isn't the total reality, but you're still here and you're still paying your karma off and you could stay here forever. So in other words, it's not just an illusion, it's real. So if you want to play with aliens for infinity, because they're not going to go anywhere either. So that's your choice. You can believe the stories these speakers out there are telling you, and all these so-called experiences are telling you. Here's another thing to look at. See how many you compare word to word. You can. All these people dealing with a certain race come up with a different scenario. You go to church, you're going to hear the same scenario. You go to a Catholic church, you go to a Protestant church, go to a Jewish temple, whatever it is, you're going to hear the same scenario. But when you hear these experiences, well, I went and I saw planet Ulu, and we're going to go there. We have people up there already. And the next person goes, no, we're going to La La Land. And that's multiple dimensional world. I mean, every story is so twisted and pathetically different. It has nothing to do with where we're going as a race. And do we need another planet? Why would we need another planet? We can't take care of this one. Can't take care of the people here. We don't need to go anywhere else.
We're polluting the universe from here.
Clean up Africa, clean up China, clean up these countries, and have an incredible. Just imagine. You want to pray? Imagine. Just like John Lennon's song. Imagine. Listen to the song and think about it. He says no God, but we do need a God in all this picture, because as long as people have their own God, delusional, we're never going to be at peace. Every war that's fought is based on religion, not based on anything else. You can say money, this and everything, but it always boils down to, well, they believe in aliens, they believe in demons, they believe in this or that, and we got to kill them. And I was trying to figure out why they really killed the Jewish people, because they didn't like their religion. Why did they kill the Native people? They didn't like their religion, and they were forcing them to become Catholics. It's religion, the bottom line. And that's because everybody has their own God.
Okay. But UFO and alien beings and alien abductions is not a religion. They're not an icon. They're not gods. If they're flying about in ships, they're not gods. If they're abducting people and performing experiments, they're not a god. So it's not, people say, oh, do you believe? It's not about belief. We're human beings, and there are different species. Like there's different species of horses or cats. There's just different species of us out there in some form doing this to us. So it's not a religion. I think that's where people get it mixed up.
But see, here's the thing. You have to just understand what a religion means. It's an accepting of an idea. All right. That makes it a religion. If you believe in popcorn as God, that's a religion. If you believe in Superman as a real person, that's still a religion. Religion is just a foundation where people put their belief and agree on something. Just as like we have to agree on the morals of society. And that has been lost. So take away the morals, and religion basically has been changing because man doesn't like the original pattern. Moses, who was one of the people responsible for creating a serious problem, came out with, he brought down 10 laws to the planet. And those laws aren't too dangerous to the planet. But what he did created 613 more, which would totally make it impossible to live with, which none of them could. And the Jewish people said they do, but that's more ridiculous. They can't live by the 10 Commandments. So to live by 613 laws, and if anybody ever read the Bible and read the Old Testament and read what all these laws are, you wouldn't even be able to be naked and things like that. So it was a delusional idea that Moses had. So, but when we talk about religion, he found 10 laws that would work, keeping people in balance. And that wasn't enough for him. Oh, you steal, cut your hands off. You see something bad, poke your eyes out. I mean, all these scenarios, and then you can't see a naked, you can't see your daughter naked, you can't see this, and they had to be out. All these stupid, ridiculous laws. It would have destroyed the planet in no time if people actually could follow the 613 laws. So when we talk about religion, the first religion is Hinduism. The first religion on this planet. Somebody said, well, the aliens brought it down. No, they were working with deities, not aliens. And deities are not aliens.
Paganism, then Judaism, or Christian Judaism.
Hindu's the first religion. All right. And they were working with deities. An abstract religion was worshiping animals, which was the first cave people and all that. And then it went to not aliens, but deities. Then it went to aliens. I mean, the Egyptians followed aliens, and the Mayans followed aliens. So it just started deteriorating, coming down to physical reality, because aliens have a ship, have a body. Deities don't. So, I mean, the concept slowly got put into a figure, how they always say God is a he. It became crystallized in the physical reality in man's perverted, twisted mind. But again, when we talk about aliens, they have their religion. They believe what they believe in. I mean, they don't believe in killing each other, which we do, which is a good thing. I mean, but they do believe in eating people when they need them, or things like that, which is like, okay, you go across the borderline for certain things. So when you create your morals of society, it's really your religion. It's your belief. It's all those things together. We give things names, and they don't need names. You either live life peacefully or you don't. You either become a friendly person or you're an angry person. I mean, it's not too complicated. But we'd rather give them 100 names. Well, they're gay, they're twisted, they're bisexual, trisexual, intersexual. I mean, all these words they could add to it. But we're just people. and whatever we allow ourselves to be, we can call ourselves that. There's over 2,000 religions, but only 3 of them are the highest populated: Christianity and Muslims. They're both over 2 billion people. So that's the biggest percentage of the planet right there. And then we got 2,000 religions that believe in everything from potatoes to popcorn, again, to you name it. Satanism, Buddhism, and all those kind of words exist as well.
Ask the question, who created humans? I mean, I don't know. I'd like to think that Charles Darwin's theory came a little way, but it doesn't explain where humans came from by a long shot. It explains some things, but not all. Can't grow hair on your body to have it fall off, then to kill an animal to put it back on your body. That is not evolution.
Well,
Secondly, other animals didn't change to they stayed the same, like crocodiles. And then what beings showed me when I was taken, when I asked where we came from, and that was an experience in itself. They showed me we didn't come from this planet. They put us here because of something they did, or an accident that was caused on our planet that caused an explosion. So, and they brought us here to survive for whatever reason. But I don't know who created human beings. I'm not sure.
Here's something you have to look at.
Yep.
People, whether they want the truth or not, people out there, all years. There was 9 races here on Atlantis. Only 4 stayed. And they're the races that are here. All 9 races were brought to this planet. They weren't hatched on planet Earth. Didn't pop out of the ground. I mean, women didn't just pop out of Adam's ribs and stuff like that. They're all fairy tales. The truth is, I mean, whether it was the name of Thoth or not, a being brought people from different planets here. That's why there's black race. That's why there's a red race. And I mean, red's not a red race, but the yellow race is not a yellow race. Different races of people. You can't compare features to the same race. You don't grow a bigger nose, bigger ears, or in different body parts and change color by staying in the same tribe.
Explain, like, we're all a family apparently of the same tree, but if you look at some Australians, indigenous people, so there's some that live on an island, and or some actually in Australia that don't even have human DNA. They share parts of human DNA. The rest of it is unknown. Where do you get an unsourced part of DNA when the whole planet originally supposedly come from one source? And if that's the case, another question on humanity: if there are different sources and different breeds of people and different species, obviously because we grew up in different parts of the world and different cultures evolved, where do people like me come in then? If I'm rhesus negative, the whole planet was positive blood types until a few million years ago. Where have I come from then?
Well, you should already know that answer. We're not going to answer it.
We've got
know that.
By the way, yeah. I just go show me, but I'm not taking that at face value.
Well, they're only playing with 12 strands of DNA. There's 32 strands of DNA, and after they break that down, they're going to find out there's 64 strands. But they can only deal with 12, and 2 of them, they don't know what they really are. And that's what race you are. So again, they said all people came from the black race. Another lie. The Hopi people have a DNA that no other tribe on this planet has. So you can't say what. Now, the Hopi people believed they lived underground, and they did.
Yeah.
They came out to meet the white man, and they were told to come out by their God. All right. So here's the thing. We have all these things going on, and people don't want to hear that. And black people rather believe we all came from black people. I mean, white people don't want to believe they came from black people, but we didn't come from each other. Sad thing to think about, because features, again, is what planet you came from. We were all on different planets, and whether the whole solar system had a serious problem, whatever, why they brought everybody here in the beginning, the blue race, the green race, the crystal race, all those beings, they were all here. Atlantis was incredible. I mean, all the things that were built, there was no killing, nobody ate animals and all those kind of things.
We're all united on this planet. We are known as, no matter what species you are, we're all part of the human race. Sorry,
I'm just trying to catch up that one question. God created humans, just so you know. 32 abilities. 32 psychic abilities didn't exist in Atlantis. They were taken away after Atlantis was destroyed. Imagine one person today, if they had a psychic ability at about 100%. They can control the world. They can control everything going on, own all the money, everything.
I don't think they'd worry, Tommy.
What was that?
I think if you had a psychic ability today, it wouldn't be a good thing, and I don't think.
Oh no, it would destroy the planet. But that person would be able to control the world. If you could levitate everything, you would be taking.
You're not talking about ESP, then, are you?
I'm talking about remote viewing, astral projection, psychic awareness, prediction, prophecy, healing, levitation. All those words. There's 32 of them. I mean, now there's 128. I mean, playing with dice, playing with feathers and stones. I mean, but the 32 abilities are ones that actually can do things. All right. I worked through a lot of them. When I was 16, I was working through about 30. I wanted to work through 32 of them, but I got to about 28. All right. The only one I really, really wanted was the only one I never got. Empathic is a horrible one. Empathic means, I mean, there's somebody teaching about being empathic. I said, what a delusional thing to teach people. Being empathic means you can see and hear what people say and think. Completely. And I had it for 2 years. It was horrible. Listening to what people say to themselves when they're walking down the street is not like, oh, I never saw one person talking about God when they were walking down the street. They were talking about drinking, sex, in their mind. And I challenged them to make sure that I wasn't making it up in my own mind. And I begged Spirit to take it away, and it finally was taken away. But I don't think I could have lived my life hearing what people think and say.
No.
Perverted, twisted. And when nobody's listening, what do you think of? Perverted, twisted things as well. So it's
the person next door because it's too close to you.
But in a place when in Atlantis, everybody was pure. You wanted to see, you looked at a person, you knew what they were thinking. And it was a good thing because they weren't thinking about how to steal your car or how to break into your house or any of that thing. They didn't need to. You couldn't lie. You couldn't steal because everybody knew everything. So it was a totally different place. Those fit in because nobody abused them. You didn't levitate somebody and throw them on Mars or something. Well, you don't.
When someone's asleep, you listen to their dreams.
It was different.
With that, good night.
You're running away already, Tina? All right, Tina. Send the link to everybody you can.
Yes, I will.
We'll get ready for next week. Try to tune into my show on Saturday night. Michael Horn's going to be on, and we're going to get into some things because there's a lot of things people don't know what was going on during Michael Horn when Billy Myers came out with his UFOs and all that stuff. But a lot was going on. So until then, talk to you soon, Tina. Be safe. Try to downstairs and things falling on your head or taking you away again. You don't need to go anywhere soon.
No, I don't. Well, that's goodbye for me here in England, in Southampton. I've been Tina Bird here on Hive, and that's human individuals visited by extraterrestrials. I'm E.T. Gary. You can find me as Tina Bird on Facebook and on Twitter and Instagram. I rarely use those, but you can message me on Facebook, and I'll see you next week. If you have any questions, please message Tommy or myself, or you can see us next week here. You can ask us questions, come on the show, email Tommy, message him, Facebook him, or again, you can call him. But for me tonight in Southampton, I'll say goodbye and thank you for our viewers tonight. Over to you, Tommy.
Take it easy, Tina. It was a pleasure. Till next time. Stay safe.
And you. Bye-bye.
All right, everybody. That was Tina. She's a great person. She's one of the few people I totally believe and trust as far as being abducted and what she's going through. I don't have the links for my show for Saturday night. It comes out right before the show. I can't send it out until then. But the link will be up, and then you can watch it anytime afterwards. So with that, there was a question in there. Jesus got the abilities from the pyramids. No, he didn't get it from the pyramids. Pyramids are just pyramids. He went through ascension, which nobody does, which everybody believes they do, which he did. One of the few souls that actually went through ascension, attaining the 32 psychic abilities. It's a meditation they did in the pyramids, but very few people or none of them actually made it through that to get out of their body, to rise above what the aliens were programming them to do. All right. Jeffrey Silman, yeah. I was just talking to him before the show. He just he's putting his audio book out. It just came out. It's 6.5 hours. It should be interesting to listen to. Anybody out there, if you're interested in about possession and things like that, what he's going through, what he does. And he's one of the top people in the field that does it. So if you're really interested, send me a link. But he just put it out, so I'm going to be getting it and reading it and listening to it. I think that's great because a lot of people can't read. My eyes are pretty bad, and I wouldn't want to sit down and read for a long period of time right now as well. So stay tuned. Listen to the show. Send this link to people. People with questions, people with answers, please call in. We're open. You want to come on as a guest anytime, I'll bring you on my other show if you have really important stuff to deal with. And I believe you. I mean, I'm not going to bring storytellers on that show ever. If I can possibly help it, I won't bring a storyteller on that show because I only want to deal with the truth. And if they're telling stories like Michael Horn has a lot of stuff out there, and because of Billy Maher's lies and twisted stuff, I want to really bring that out as well. So till next time, hope you enjoyed the show. Feel free, text me, hawksblood1aol.com. Want a book on how to see a UFO manual? I'll send it to you as a PDF file. My first 2 books are as an ebook. I can send them to you. And the book that you see the title on the beginning of the show, that's my most important book. And I want to promote that still. I'm going to try to get it to a form that I can send it out, hopefully in the next couple months. I've been so busy doing a lot of things, trying to keep up with these storytellers and writing letters all day long. So peace, love, passion, whatever you need in your life, hope you get it. Hope you find it. Hope you keep looking forward. Never stay still, never stand still, never go backwards. Always move forward. Till next time.